The following is a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
Welcome to The System Is Down.
What's up, Downers? Welcome back to the very least comfortable show on the web. It is, of course, The System Is Down, the place where we talk about all the uncomfortable things like conspiracies, politics, religion, and Kanye West, of all things, as he seems to keep cropping up in the one or two of these categories. Welcome to the show. If you're new here, go find the person who invited you, give him a big hashtag #MeToo, kiss on the mouth, and a slap on the rear from you and from me, because I appreciate you being here, and you're going to enjoy it because, we are talking about Kanye West again today. This whole Christianity, Kanye thing that's been going around, a lot of people have some thoughts. A lot of people have messaged me asking my thoughts on the whole situation. So I figured instead of me responding to each one of them individually, I'd just invite them onto the show and we'd have a good, fun conversation and get a bunch of different sides of the issue and opinions on the matter. So I had on Cole, Craig, and John Schweppe, all of which are pretty regular on the show, but we each had completely different viewpoints for the most part, and it was a great conversation. So we'll get into that right here in just a moment, but before we do, I gotta remind you guys about the Downers Club, which is our Patreon program. It is what keeps this show going and getting bigger and better and more beautiful every time you tune in, every single Monday when you tune in for your weekly dose of discomfort, and it also affords you the access to all of our bonus content, weekly bonus audio and video shows every single week, as weekly is. I don't know why I always say that. Weekly. Every week. So, go check it out. Patreon.com/The System Is Down. You'll get all of our backlog of content too. So tons and tons of stuff there. And you can sign up for as little as $5 a month at Patreon.com/The System Is Down. All right, let's get into what you're here for. Our conversation on the man himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Kanye West. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get weird. Welcome to an episode that is going to be what it's going to be, and I don't know what it's going to be, but some things have happened and transpired over the last couple of weeks with our beloved Kanye West, to where he's a God-fearing man now, apparently, and I've had several people reach out to me saying, hey, we should talk about this, and several people, or at least one person in this conversation, who I've talked to about Kanye West on the show in the past. I just said, hey, instead of talking about this on social media, let's do a podcast and just have a chat and a rant, maybe a debate of sorts. Not necessarily. Very chill, laid back conversation. I have no notes. I assume nobody else does either, but just getting opinions out there. But I'm joined by Craig. Craig, what's up? Also, Cole is here. Cole, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Dan.
Glad to hear it. And I'm also joined by John West. John, how you doing?
I'm doing really good. My religiosity right now is off the charts.
Are you a diehard freaking Kanye fan now? Now that he's following Jesus?
As if he wasn't already.
Kanye. I've always liked Kanye, but MAGA Kanye was pretty cool. And Jesus-loving Kanye is the GOAT. So I'm really excited.
Now that Jesus is following Jesus, you're good.
That's right.
I am not a god. He's changing his lyrics to that. But I remember back in high school, John quoting Kanye West's Gold Digger all the time. He may or may not have dropped the N-bomb a time or two either. But yeah,
I think I used the radio. It was mostly radio edit, I believe.
Sure.
Mostly.
So if John ever runs for political office, we'll have to go back into those files and look for that.
Well, I wasn't recording the podcast in high school, but we can see what we can do.
I'm sure we can find something.
Yeah. The CIA was still active, so we can probably dig something up if we need to. But so I don't know. Where do you guys want to start? I mean, we can start with all y'all's opinion of Kanye West before this news, and your opinions of him now, or it's loose and up for grabs. Whoever wants to go. John, go ahead. Kanye West.
Go, John.
Seemed like the good place to start. We all know.
So I was pretty excited for this album. When he was supposed to do an album called Yandi, and that never really happened. And he's probably the most flaky music artist out there. So, it was kind of a question mark as to what this would actually be. And so it was released,
even
and
even
I
Jesus
was
is King was announced a long time ago, and that kind of fell through. And he changed the cover art and changed some stuff around. So.
right. I mean, he's a really flaky dude. I mean, that's just kind of how he is. So I was nervous in anticipation for it because I thought, his MAGA album, Yay, was okay. I think it was all right. It was fine.
I wouldn't call it
a
MAGA album, but I thought
no.
it was
He
fun.
literally had like two references to that stuff, And but anyway, I was incredibly impressed. I got to be honest. Like, there's some theological issues, obviously, and there's all sorts of things you can criticize. But in terms of like the raw passion in it, the emotion, the beats, the music, I thought it was one of the best albums I've listened to in a while.
That's a bit much, but let's not dig too deep just yet. Let's talk. Like, John, you were a fan of Kanye West before, and you still are, even more so now, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. My internet connection is
maybe
unstable.
I missed your question. You broke up a little bit.
So you like had man love for him? That's what he said?
I've always been a fan.
And you just agreed to it.
Craig knows none of us know what he said. He broke up.
No, I've always been a fan of Kanye, and I just think he's one of the most talented rappers and producers out there.
Okay. Let's go just based off of like quality at the moment. Craig and Cole, what were your opinions of Kanye before this album? Were you guys like fans of him in any capacity?
No, I'm not a fan of rap music really in general. So I had no interest in Kanye, especially the fact that he married Kim Kardashian. That was just a big strike against him that just made his cool points go down very
Craig's
drastically.
against the mixed race
I've never really
marriages.
listened to him. I am really no. Shut up. No, I'm not a fan of hip hop or rap, so I've never really listened to any of his stuff until this beautiful work of art, I guess, that John's calling it. So no, all I know is his public figure more than his professional career.
Craig, I'm gonna let you finish, but Cole has probably the best comment of all time. So Cole, you want to go ahead and tell me? He was talking about Kanye's public persona, and that's what most of us knew is the Kanye antics. If you weren't a fan of the music, but Cole, were you into the music before?
No, I'm glad that this is the way we're digging into it at first, because I think it makes more sense to kind of talk about the whole picture. No, I actually wasn't into him. I mean, I probably have heard some of his stuff, and I'm not really a huge fan of the style. There's some stuff I do like that I listen to in the hip hop rap genre, but honestly, not a lot. And Kanye wasn't one I really knew much about. More his private life, his persona, which isn't private at all. It's public.
Right.
But
nothing about Kanye is private.
No, right. But every one of us know him as the pop culture icon that he is. I mean, That's really what he is.
Yeah. And I will say, for me, I've been a fan of Kanye West for a long time. It's probably since 808s and Heartbreak is when I started getting into him. So it's been a good decade or so that I've been listening to all of his stuff. And I was a fan, and I think that kind of will play into this discussion of whether or not you care about, Jesus is King. Because for me personally, I felt like when I found out that he was doing this thing, be it what it may, the whole Jesus thing, I was like, I honestly hope that it just doesn't like suck the Kanye out of it, because there's something about him and his production and even his arrogance sometimes that makes him appealing, and I feel like he did well. But have Craig and Cole, have you guys listened to the album?
I listened to a few songs here in the last couple of days, knowing we were coming on to do this, so I had to get kind of a feel. What do you mean fire me? I listened to it, John.
A few songs.
I'm sorry I couldn't get past a few songs.
It's 25 minutes long.
That is more time than I want to spend on it.
It's true. Some of the songs are like a minute and a half long, so Craig's probably listened to a grand total of 3 minutes of the album.
That's about all the time I had to put on it.
Cole, have you listened to it at all?
Not a little bit. I honestly didn't realize that he was releasing an album about it so fucking quickly.
Sure.
So I had only just understood that this had come to public knowledge and, let's say, propagandized. Is that a verb?
Sure.
That sounds good to me.
Kind of turned into a thing already online, and I figured that was sort of, it just happened, right? I mean, I didn't know he was working. This rings a bell when you guys are talking about it. I was like, oh yeah, he's releasing a record. I didn't realize it was coming out that fast.
Sure.
And if I had, I wouldn't have cared to listen to it anyway, because honestly, my opinions of him are purely societal. Like, my views on him.
Yes, mine too.
I really have not much to say about his music. I know he's a talented artist. I know people respect that about him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm just not really worried about what music he creates, because I don't think lyrical content is really something you can base someone's character off of.
No.
Which is
honestly,
why
I don't really care that much
fall.
about the lyrical content on this album. I was more concerned about it sounding like a Kanye album. Like I haven't dug too deeply into his lyrics by any stretch, but I was just happy with the performance.
Okay. Sure. But for me, when I thought about it just now, like, if I had listened to it, I probably would have been more listening just for what's he talking about now and what's he trying to really say here, and then try to come up with my own idea of where I think he's coming from. But, you know, that's hard to do from music because, you know, people are writing from all kinds of perspectives anyway, and you don't really know what somebody's meaning unless they're just being, you know, in a lot of his music, he does just come right out and say things like, I'm God. But, you know, in other ways, I'm sure he writes about things that are just sometimes stupid, and probably sometimes you don't know what he meant. But so, you know, I understand you guys looking at it like, oh, I want to see how the music was changed by this. But for me, I don't know or care about his quality as a musician. I know other people do. That's fine. That works for me, you know?
Sure.
Like,
so Cole, what was it that made you, and Craig too, since you guys are, I mean, you've got kind of like a split side here, two fans of Kanye who liked him before and like him now, and two people who didn't really care about his music per se, but I assume there's a reason why you guys have taken at least some issue with this whole, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, this whole new Kanye.
I think it's a publicity stunt, to be honest. I think it's the next MAGA, whatever you want to call it, Kanye. Like people got tired of, or people stopped really caring that Kanye West was wearing his "Make America Great Again." I mean, he's all about really bringing attention to Kanye. Kanye doesn't. I don't see
everything he
as,
does is calculated, and a lot of it is just to piss people off and stir up conversation.
Right, and the fact that he went hard to the right for a few days, or however, I don't know if he's still talking about
he is
Donald Trump as his
not
dragon
as much,
blood
but,
or not, but that was just to stir people up, because obviously most people in Hollywood and in the like music industry are hard to the left, so he was leaning hard to the right, and I think that was a calculated publicity stunt there. I don't think he doesn't necessarily believe in Donald Trump, but I think it was mostly to bring attention to Kanye West. And then same thing with him coming out as this gospel singer and this hardcore diehard Christian or whatever. I think it's all just to raise attention to the Kanye brand. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think that's certainly a possibility given what we know about Kanye, and I just am going to wait before I jump to conclusions. I'm fine with that being the case if he wants to go that route. There are certainly plenty of Christians who have been in the Christian industry who have gone that route, because you know it turns heads and gets people's attention sometimes. And I mean, Craig, you and Cole and I did Why Christian Art Sucks and God Hates Kirk Cameron episode years ago, and that's kind of in the same vein of, you know, is he doing this just to sell albums, or is he actually into this? But Cole, what's your take?
Okay, so you're kind of asking me to respond to what Craig was saying there?
Yeah, I suppose. Or just why, like, what makes you interested in this whole story in general?
That's a pretty broad question. But
Why do you care about Kanye?
I'll try to.
Why do you care about Christian Kanye?
Okay, well, I think if anybody's listening to your show, they probably know that I came from a Christian background.
Sure.
And I'm not on a lot of episodes, but I've been on a couple times, and I think, those are some, right? Those have to be the most popular ones with the whole group of guys, right? Nathan and Craig and you, and when you get everybody together, anyways.
Yeah.
I came from that, just like you did, just like I know Craig did. I don't know John as well, but
John was a PK.
I know enough to know that John. Right.
John's dad was the pastor of the Lutheran church in Aledo.
Right. So we all really came from all this, being raised in the church and stuff. But anyways, my interest in it is because it's just, I don't understand how anyone can see this as other than obscenely, like, just absurd of him to do. And for Christianity to hoist him up upon a pedestal and share their pose.
That's what Christians do, though.
Among their crowds and their groups. And honestly, I don't care who it is. It's idolization. I'm not a Christian at all at this point.
Sure.
But I still understand and think that it's immoral to, like, make these things into, like, to deify people and to use that, like, here's our righteous example for so many reasons. To me, it is it's so hypocritical. It is just putting this person on a pedestal. I just don't understand why they have to rally around. I know why. It's because it's their powerful new ally. And honestly, that's they have just as much to gain from it as he does as a publicity stunt.
To your point, I will say that in the past, like if Kanye West, even old Kanye West, says something like Jesus walks or something, the Christians will be like, oh man, he's like talking about spiritual matters. Like they're really quick to go, hey, this secular guy's talked about God, so he's on our side for a second until he has his next song. But at the same time, they'll take a Christian artist, and if they say the F word or something in an interview, they'll immediately throw him out and be like, that person's a heretic.
Yeah.
Like, it's just very critical.
That's a great, a comparison for sure. I mean, because it's just so. So
if Kanye, now that he's a Christian artist, if Kanye drops an F-bomb now, is he going to get thrown out? Like now that he's a Christian artist, will he have different standards?
Well,
I don't know.
He struggles with his past.
Yeah, there you go. It's another. It's just another propo piece to put out on. Like, see, we all struggle. Even, I mean, anything to feel more secure in your faith. That is shaky at best sometimes, right? I know what that was like. Anyway.
All right, John, chime in. I know you've got plenty to say on that.
No, I think that there's two things, right? So one is that I think Christians kind of see this and it's not an idolization of Kanye. It's more an excitement at his journey and Dan hinted at, his lyrics, which I've heard the same thing. Like people have speculated like, oh, Kanye's a spiritual guy. Like, he's been on this walk and this is the culmination of that. And so I think for Christians, at least the ones I've seen, I mean, it's been mostly like, number one, celebration that he's walking towards the faith and hope that this will continue. I mean, his lyrics even come across as a excited convert. I mean, he's very much young in the faith. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, I mean, there's theological issues with a lot of what was said, but it's this excitement. And then number two, the music is just really good. Like, and I think that, it's something that you're listening to, and you guys, I loved that episode, the Why Christian Art Sucks episode, but like, I think Christians are looking for something to listen to and be like, oh, this is actually celebrating my faith. Like this is enriching my faith. And it's good. It's a combination. And not just Christians, though. I mean, there's a lot of people, his Sunday service group baptized like 1,000 people at church. the other Sunday. Like, I mean, this is, in a way, I mean, he's talked about that in his lyrics, but he sees this as a mission and a mission from God to bring people to the faith and excite them about it. And he's reaching a lot of people who might not otherwise, be in tune to that. So I have a hard time seeing it as anything negative. I mean, I understand, with the politics stuff, like with the MAGA stuff, I totally get why people were cynical of that. But to me, this is, it's just a little different. And I just see it as a positive thing.
Yeah, and with to what you're saying, like him being like a convert and everything, it's not even like he went from just A to B overnight. His dad was like he wasn't a pastor, but he was like a teacher in Christianity or something. Like he had an upbringing in the faith and everything, and he's sprinkled that in.
Kim has baptized their kids in like an Armenian Orthodox church. Yeah. So I mean, the family is very devout,
and not to mention, like somebody in his position, somebody with his power. Like you look at people like Kurt Cobain and all these people who ended up killing themselves. They talk about how they finally got what they thought they always wanted, and they, kill themselves. Maybe he just met a low point to where he's like, I'm gonna give this thing that I've been taught my whole life or all my whole childhood I was raised on. I'm gonna give that a shot. I don't know.
He did. He was that when he decided to make this change or whatever, it was when he committed himself into the hospital last year or the year before or whatever, and after like some business deals like went bad. I think it was after the whole MAGA thing and stuff, and he I think this was right around the time he had admitted he went off his meds and stuff. He admitted himself in the hospital and said he was overstressed and stuff, and that's when he decided he had this revelation to do something from God. And that is fine and well and good, but it still just reeks of this is Kanye. Like, this is all about me. It's not about God. It's all about me.
To push your point further, I listened to an interview that he did with one of the big, what was it?
The Apple Music guy.
Beats one, yeah, Apple Music. And he said, like, it was a good interview. I'm not even done with it because it's like 2 hours long. But he says in the interview at one point, he's like, I am the greatest artist of all time. Like, literally all time. There is nobody even close. Like,
right.
I mean, there's still some Kanye there, and that type of thinking. It's like, well, maybe you should slow your roll a bit on, being somebody who's leading people to your faith if you honestly believe that you are the greatest artist of all time because you made some musical albums in the rap, like the hip hop community.
Well, here's another in true Kanye fashion quote about God and his spirituality and stuff. It says, God is using me as a human being, as humbly as I can put it. He's using me to show off. Last year I made 115 million and still ended up 35 million in debt. This year I looked up and I just got 68 million returned to me on my tax returns. That's what God did for him.
That's humility right there.
Like that's his, yes, God has taught me to be humble, and that in turn has gained me $68 million in my tax return. But when you're
Kanye West, how do you come back from all the bragging getting you all this publicity and this fame your entire life? How do you flip that switch overnight?
It's just true fashion of the prosperity gospel is what it seems like to me. Sure. And
no, 100%.
With that being said, did you hear he is scheduled to guest appear at Joel Osteen's church, the prosperity gospel champion? Yeah. So that's what stuff like that is what makes me like really skeptical. Like if the guy had a true heart change, great on him. If he found God, that's great on him. I'm all for it. But when with stuff like that, that's just like, it still is like really kind of gross to me.
Yeah, I think it's possible he's had a heart change, but is also struggling with the fact that he's surrounded by yes men and Christians who are preaching the prosperity gospel type of stuff and saying, hey, good on you. Keep making as much money as you can and everybody will love you. Not that there's anything wrong with making money, but I don't know. It's just a weird thing. John, go.
I mean, when I said there are theological errors, that was what I was kind of hinting at. Like, I mean, there's prosperity gospel all over it. But again, like, this is where maybe I don't expect my artists to be brilliant in theology, like, and I'm just excited that, you know, he's willing to, not even willing, I mean, he feels almost compelled to just worship God. And yeah, maybe the tax return thing is what like helped drive that, and that kind of is weird. And but you know, I will say though, at the same time, like he had a track, and he predicted exactly this, like that there would be kind of and I've seen it within the conservative movement too, like this kind of, oh, I don't know, I mean, you know, is he really one of us? Like, I mean, he's, you know, and Hands On is all about that. And like, I just think it's, you know, God uses people that aren't necessarily what you would call the perfect Christians, right? Like we look to
Joel Osteen.
Paul. Okay, well, I no, I mean, I think Joel Osteen is a bad dude. I really do. But like you look at like, you know, Paul.
But you think but you think that Kanye should be someone that people. The reason I even heard about this was because someone on my Facebook feed shared this, like, it's a photo of him and all these people in a stadium around him with their hands up.
Right.
And he's got his hands up and he's the center of attention. And this person shared the link, and all of the text about it was a long thing about how amazing it is that oh God, Kanye, oh my God, we have Kanye. Right.
Yeah. Well, that's what I sent. That's what got me and Dan talking about it too, was I sent a video of him in this worship thing and him using his auto tune
regularly
and stuff. And I was just like, is this for real? And he's like, what's your point? I was like, I don't know what to think about this.
Well, your point was that it sounded bad. And my point was, I've liked Kanye before now, and his weird auto-tune stuff I've always enjoyed to a degree, so that doesn't change anything for me if he's saying it about God. But
I guess my real question is, does God care if your voice is auto-tuned or not? I'm just kidding.
Why? So
I'm kidding.
I don't know. I don't know why we're back to his music. I honestly don't think it's about his music for me at all.
No, I don't think much about his music either.
It's
like
not
I
about
said.
His music.
Like I said, it's more about his public persona than his music. Even before the whole getting saved thing, it's all the only thing I've ever really known of Kanye is his public persona and who he comes off as, and who today's Kanye is. Who is today's Kanye, really?
It's that he is this icon of a person who stands for a lot of things. And honestly, as a personal position, I don't have a problem with the guy. Like, I don't personally care what he does with his personal life. I don't have a problem with the decisions he makes. I don't care that he's released sex tapes of him.
You're more pissed off at the Christians for just making such a huge deal out of him changing his mind.
How they can do that. I don't understand how we can use how. I'm sorry, it's not we. I don't belong to this group. I feel like a lot of this conversation has been a lot about where, you know, is this true in him? Is this a true transformation? That's really not, I don't care if it is or not. It's cool for him. That's great. I don't understand and how he can be lifted up like
you're more mad at the glomming Christian culture.
I guess I'm not. I shouldn't be surprised because of who our president is and how the Christian hard right treats him, and a man who, you know, just a life full of debauchery. I don't even really need to say any of it. We all know what it is.
John
and Kanye West has just as much and more of that, and not only that, but just the lyrics of just songs that even I know. He's talked about how he thinks he is God. He says these things that are just so against what Christianity has said is the big no-nos. He did all that stuff. He's all been about that for so long, forever. And that's fine. Yeah, I really don't care how he lives his life personally. Like,
it's the same. It's the same as
Christians cannot handle that with anyone else. They can't even accept a single a human being for being loving someone that they say that's not cool. Like, fuck you. That's how they treat the rest of the world. And yet, oh, Kanye is on our side. That's going to do us really good. That's going to help. Yeah.
These are broad brushstrokes, but it is the same as what we were saying about in the Christian art sucks thing. It's like Christians tend to just accept people based on this very thin veil of Christian artist, and then they're like, yay, somebody's on our team. Now we have somebody big on our team. So that's, I mean, the fact that they were able to shift so quickly to that is even more strange than Kanye shifting so quickly to Christianity.
Well, I don't question even a little bit the validity of his claims if he's a changed person. Don't question that at all. That's not my place. I don't care. You know, if he's right with God and he found something that works for him, it's not for me. I don't get on board with that. But if that's what he has come to understand, then I absolutely respect that. I'm not one to say, oh, this guy's a fake. I don't think that this is right, that he's doing this. I don't care that he's doing this. I don't even care that people would say, hey, did you hear about that? Like, cool. But like, it's the way people raise him up on a pedestal as a champion.
I really don't think, and look, I'm not saying that some people aren't doing that. I mean, I can't know that, but I don't really think it's a raising on the pedestal.
That's how we know about this, John.
Well, but I think it's a celebration of the gospel being spread. And I think that's what, well, I'm just telling you, I think that's what the motivation is for most Christians. Like, I don't think it's this like tribalistic thing. I mean, granted, like there is the fact that, you know, there's not a lot of Christian representation in culture. And so it is, you know, kind of encouraging, I guess, to have, you know, like a gospel album that's #1 on iTunes. I mean, that's kind of cool. But like, really, I think it's more.
It's only encouraging because it's #1 on iTunes and it's now in the hip hop. It's in center viewed for them now.
Which means people are listening to it. Yeah, of course.
But I mean, if you're a Christian who cares about, if you're a Christian who cares about the mission and sees the West as a mission field, and you see something like this, you're encouraged by the fact that you believe that, you know, God could be using Kanye's talent to witness to thousands of potential Christians and save thousands of potential. I don't use that terminology as a Catholic, but to save thousands of potential Christians. Like, sure. I think that at least the people I've talked to, you know, granted I'm in DC, like, you know, this is more, people are trying to have like 1,000-word intellectual think pieces about Kanye. But I think that's the motivation. There's probably a little tribalism, I guess. Like, you know, I think people like to see, just like anyone. Well, no, I'm just saying people like to see themselves represented in culture. Like everyone does. Like, that's why, like, you know, every LGBT site gets excited when there's a gay character on TV, right? Like, I mean, it's just representation is something that people feel empowered by, but it's certainly not. That shouldn't be the Christian goal.
I don't feel that there's malicious motives behind the LGBTQ movement. I feel like there's a lot of malicious motives behind the religious movements.
I would take the opposite point of view.
I think
into a whole new territory.
We're very different views on it.
I think I lean more towards kind of what Cole's saying, that it's more like Christians are chalking this up as a win, like a win for Christianity. Oh, we got another one on our side, because last year, about a year ago, I think it was Avril Lavigne that did an interview.
But that wasn't good.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. But she did an interview for a magazine. She said a couple things about God, and I saw all the diehard Christian people.
Yes, we talked about that on the show. Like, they jumped on it, and they didn't read the rest of the interview where she's cussing up a storm, which was beautiful.
Right. Yeah, that was my favorite part of the interview. But
is
yeah, they jump on this.
Anti-Christian, because I'm in trouble if that's true.
It is, and so are we.
Oh,
so
fuck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
dude, if we live, you know, we're fucked, John. We're all fucked.
Yeah. So I think Christians and most people groups, once somebody, especially somebody famous, gets on their side, they're really quick to be like, yes, we got one on our side, without waiting to see where this goes. The same with like Kanye and the MAGA people. It's just like, yes, we got a Trump supporter who's like a diehard, like a huge celebrity. We got this hip hop guy that is a big Trump supporter. He's on our side. And it's like within minutes, they're just really quick to jump on it and praise this guy for
the timing is pretty uncanny, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's just like, why don't we just wait this out and see where this goes? Because knowing Kanye or knowing a lot of these celebrities, they could flip this within days. I mean, it could be within days.
The difference,
like, yeah, I didn't mean that.
The big difference, though, is that his MAGA stuff wasn't that substantive. It was mostly just like, I'm my own person. I can think the way I want to think. You know, you can't tell black people to vote Democrat. Like, you know, we're all slaves and we should get rid of the 13th Amendment. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say that was like deep on substance. You look at the lyrics, and granted, I've probably listened to this album like 50 times now. But like you listen to the lyrics in this are very substantive. Like there's like some really good stuff in there.
Hey guys, this is Dan's wife, Kayla. I just wanted to interrupt this podcast to let you know that he puts a lot of work into it for currently no monetary profit. And he has a family to feed. To do so, he runs his own media business called Goulash Media. Dan has a crazy creative brain that makes him uniquely able to take your project, whatever it may be, and make it the full package. So whether you're in need of graphic design, logos, branding, commercials, wedding videos, podcast jingles, music production, music videos, merchandise, websites, pictures, or what have you, contact Dan and he'll seriously make you look and sound awesome. For more information, just go to goulashmedia.net. That's goulash, Goulash, media.net, where Dan caters to the little guy with the big vision.
But there's also lyrics like "You're my Chick-fil-A, you're my number one with a lemonade, closed on Sunday."
That's true.
That's not
There
substantive, John. That's really
It's
shallow.
Kanye. It's Kanye.
Yeah,
You can't.
but
There's
Kanye does
stuff
have
in
dorky
there.
lyrics a lot of the times, so that doesn't say that much. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
I don't really give a damn about his lyrics, but that's funny to me.
That was like, he was like that song. So when the album first came out in the first couple hours, because I was watching Twitter obviously, and everyone started like quoting that song, and I was like, I mean, it's an okay song, but that's not even like close. Like I would say that's in my like bottom 3 or 4 on the album. Like it's
That's
a good
like my
song,
bottom 3 or 4
shit.
lyrics that's my bottom 3 or 4 lyrics of all time right there.
I
Of
love
any
the
lyrics ever
perspective
written.
John is bringing to this. He's like the music. He's like all about the music. He's the advocate for them. I like that. That's
I am too. I thought the
funny.
music was
I
great.
really didn't expect.
And I actually
didn't expect
listened to
anyone
somebody
to be like that about it.
I listened to Anthony Fantano do a review of the album first, and he was just ripping the lyrics apart. And I was like, that sounds really dumb. And then I listened to it, and I'm like, it's Kanye, and it's fine. It is dumb, but it kind of fits the song, and it's not that bad.
And the
it on
bridge,
its own
like
sucks.
the really good part of that song is really great actually. Like the lyrics are basically like, you know, all these like I'm gonna defend my family, like, you know, it doesn't matter like what the culture says, like I'm gonna bow down to Jesus. Like I mean the bridge part of that song, I know it's Chick-fil-A at the beginning and everyone focuses on that, but like it's actually incredibly powerful. And also musically it's just like oh man, it's really good.
You got
and then at the end,
I'm happy
Oh
that
my.
it tickled you.
You got to know that he threw in the Chick-fil-A line. Like, it is dumb, but you got to know he threw it in there just to ruffle some more feathers. In addition to MAGA, in addition to Christianity, he threw it in there
Right.
because of the
Is
controversy
that
around
pun
Chick-fil-A.
intended, Dan?
What do you mean?
Ruffle feathers
Ruffle
about
the chicken
Chick-fil-A?
feathers.
Oh, no. So
I
unintended, I didn't even know what it was.
I don't know, just stuff like that. Just it's so shallow, and so like I said, I didn't listen to the whole album, so I don't know how deep the song gets.
You
but
listen to 3 minutes.
as soon as I hear those lyrics immediately at the beginning, I'm like, "Are you freaking serious right now? Like, you're this."
That's just who he is, though.
Want to talk
That's
about
who he is.
Chick-fil-A?
If you saw the song
Like-
he put out last year on SNL, like that was some of the worst lyrics he's
Oh, I
ever
saw
put
it.
out.
That was terrible. That was awful.
So, You're My Chick-fil-A is not the worst lyrical content. And Kanye West has never been somebody who I look to for lyrical content. His production and his rapping is
For sure.
much
For
more important. But so in taking this in another direction, to those of you who are skeptical, myself included, I am skeptical. I'm not as on board as John is. I'm like, hey, let's let the guy figure himself out. Let's keep an eye on what he's doing, whatever. If you care, just if you enjoy the music, enjoy the music. If not, don't, whatever. Who gives a shit? But looking into the future, like Kanye has said in the past, hey, I'm going to run in 2024 for president. And, he's checking the boxes for certain categories at this point.
Sure.
He is now a MAGA supporter. He is now a Christian. He is now apparently a Chick-fil-A eater, which is possibly the worst of the three. But do you think that this has anything to do with the idea of him or even Kim running for president?
No.
You wouldn't, would you?
You don't think?
I mean,
John, you were more about Kanye running for president before, when he came out like supporting MAGA and everything.
I don't think he'd get more Republican voters knowing that he rapped about like Jesus and Chick-fil-A. I think he absolutely would.
Of course he would.
You might be right. Look, I mean, Trump got elected, so who am I to say anything now? But
before Trump got elected, did you think he was a Christian, God-fearing man?
I don't think that now.
Exactly. But
I don't think most people. I don't think most.
But he said he was.
I don't think most
got the
I don't
endorsement.
think most Christians feel that way. I think most Christians who are evangelicals who support him, it's about him being it's a rational decision. It's a protectorate.
But you do know that every single president that gets elected has to say that they're a Christian, right?
Well,
what about his
Presbyterian or whatever?
What about his endorsement by the Graham family? I don't know. Was it Billy or Franklin? Who cares? They're both all the same person at this point. They said Trump. I saw him give his life to Christ personally. I said I did this for him.
I watched it happen.
Yes, I
taught
him the sinner's prayer.
I can't.
No, I can't judge either. But
personal. But I'm just saying, for me, that's not a critical element and never was. Like, if he is I'd like him to be a God-fearing man, but I mean, if he's, an agnostic, but he's fighting for, it's tribalism, right? But like, if he's fighting to protect things I care about, then it's irrelevant. And I think that's where a lot of Christians are at. I mean, I can't speak for everyone. There are people out there who are swearing up and down that he's, the Apostle Paul here in America. But
for more on that, listen to QAnon Chronicles every Friday with Scott. Just kidding.
I guess my comment about the Graham isn't necessarily that he is or isn't, or whether I care, because I don't give two shits whether he's a Christian or not either as a president. If he's doing good things or not doing good things, that's more important. But do you take stock in a highly religious family, a highly looked to in the religious culture, such as Billy Graham's family, saying things like, "Oh, Donald Trump's obviously a Christian because of X, Y, or Z." Because I saw
them the Graham crackers from now on.
Does that make a difference to you, John? I mean, like what? I don't want to get too deep into it, but how much stock do you take in what the Graham family says and Billy Graham and
the Graham
Franklin
crackers?
Graham?
Come on.
I don't take any stock in it, but I'm probably not the typical Republican voter, right? Like, or evangelical voter. I'm not an evangelical, but my interests are more, I'm more plugged into specific issues, and I'm a Washington elite now. So,
thank you, Kanye West. I am the greatest, non-evangelical of all time.
No, but I do think that Franklin Graham's endorsement probably was influential, and you can make of that what you will. I mean, if, for example, you only care about abortion as an issue, if that's like what motivates you, there was a binary choice, right? And so you vote based on that, and that goes for a
single issue voting, not something.
But there's 5 or 6 key social issues where one party is diametrically opposed to the other, and I think it's pretty easy for evangelicals to make that choice.
So if we had to put money on it,
if they don't care about it, then
over under. John, you're a betting man. Kanye West or Kim Kardashian. I think Kim Kardashian would probably be a more stable choice at this point. Either of them running for president. What's your bet?
Do you know where they reside?
They just moved to like Wyoming.
They just moved, right?
Yeah.
So Wyoming? I was thinking about that.
He's got like 40,000 acres or something. He's got a plantation of his own.
I could see him running for Senate. I really could. I really could, because I thought that was kind of my instinct when that happened. It was like, I wonder if he's moving to run. because a lot of people do that.
Right.
It's possible.
So you have political. You think
Hillary
that
Clinton.
there's a chance that there's political interests involved in the reasons.
There's definitely a
he's been making
chance.
the move.
This is a very strange world we live in now. So there's definitely a chance.
You say that that's the reason, or that plays into the reason for his move, just that, or also his Trump supporting and his Christianity conversion?
I mean,
Could
he
they be
says.
linked?
I'm just saying it's a possibility. I have no idea. I can't get into his head.
I asked you for your bet.
So
If I was a betting man on does Kanye ever run for office, I would bet yes. I really would. But I don't know if that means he wins.
Side bet, John. Side bet.
Arnold Schwarzenegger won. Come on.
Will Franklin Graham support Yeezy if he runs for president?
I'm going to say no.
No.
Wait,
Even
but if he's
big Christian?
the nominee, yes.
I think so. I think absolutely he would. I mean, Kanye
he has
West.
to.
I just listened to I think it's Apologia Radio podcast. I only listened to it because they're like a Calvinist or something, but they had on the pastor who talked to Kanye during his conversion and all that, and helped him through it, and blah blah blah. Which we hear about this a lot with people like Justin Bieber and other celebrities when they are having their come to faith moment. But this pastor talked to him, and I don't know this pastor. I don't know his legitimacy or anything. The words he was saying, I was like, he's if anything he's saying is true, then I feel like I personally do not feel like Kanye West is lying. I do not feel like this pastor is lying. If I actually dug into that pastor, I might feel that way. But from the story that I heard, I don't necessarily feel like either of them are lying. They might be misguided or something. I don't know, but that doesn't mean that it's not for a political reason or a celebrity reason that Kanye made this choice. But yeah, I
also
absolutely
could be his
think,
wife. It could be his wife pushing him into it.
I absolutely.
Have you met his
Well,
wife?
no, because Kim said that she's not there yet. She's not into that stuff yet, from my understanding.
Oh, I didn't see that. I know she's, because a lot of people have shared it. Like, they're in this Armenian Orthodox church, which, by the way, is like super Orthodox and conservative.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, to my knowledge, Kim hasn't made the switch yet. I wonder if it's like, hey, they're gonna, for their celebrity, like these are the Kardashians. They're still huge. They're still billionaires, but they're trickling down a little bit over time. You know, if Kanye becomes a Christian, he converts his whole family over time. That'll give him at least another boost for a while. But all this to say that absolutely the Graham Crackers will, endorse Kanye West. If they endorsed the great Christian that is Donald Trump for president, why would they not endorse Kanye West?
but just not to
They
get
felt like they
overly-
were faced with this decision, though. They felt like they had
Right.
no other option. They were down to Trump or Hillary, and that's really the problem. It's this, like,
But they
it's
don't
not
have to
single
endorse
voting
anything.
entirely. But
As a church, they don't
it's
have
kind
to
of
endorse
like they do,
anybody.
though.
No, I think
For
Cole's
some reason,
exactly
they
right.
do.
And the thing is, like, you got to also
They get
remember that
themselves
these guys
entwined with
mostly stayed
politics.
out. They mostly stayed out of the primary. Like, I think Franklin Graham dabbled, but like a lot of these groups, I mean, my group even, like, I mean, we stayed out of the primary. If anything, opposed Trump. And then once it became reality, then it was like, okay, well, you're going to have to give us some like affirmation, like stuff like that. Okay, like maybe you're serious. And then we've been shocked at how, from our perspective, how good he's been as president. So like, but it was definitely like, I just think like we can't rewrite history and pretend that evangelicals just ran to him. I don't think that's what happened.
Sure. His party didn't even run to him.
Right.
They're still not running to him.
Some, but I think
Yeah.
his
But the
base-
problem
his base
is,
loves him.
the problem is who did run to him at the first. His white supremacist,
Oh God, here we
Alt-right.
go.
faith core, his core fan base. I mean, the people who, that's
Hold on,
his
let me get
core.
this can of worms and open it up for you real quick, because I feel like you're starting something here.
I
that,
can I can
should
open
be
the lid
fun.
if you want, Dan, but I'll just leave it to you.
It's pretty tight.
I'm not saying that that's what Trump is. It isn't. It's not
No.
who he
No, I
is,
understand.
really. I'm
I
saying that
understand
that's who was attracted to him initially, and people who
Right.
immediately flocked to what he was. You know, this is now turning into a Trump debate, but it's not
I
important.
know.
I just think
No,
really what it
it's
comes
true,
down
though.
to is then the conservative right, the less, not like the alt-right, but the conservative right still has to feel like, because of our political system, they have to get on board with this one. When it came down to it, Trump was the only option to them. And then they get on board whole hog with this man, and they just ignore so much that they would never do for any normal person. Anyone who came into their doors of a church and said, this is my life. I'm this person who writes songs like this about being God. I say these things. I do this stuff.
In fairness, the pastor who was working alongside him, he didn't even know Kanye West at all. Like, he didn't even recognize him. That's what he says.
Way,
like I said, if I'm taking him at his word, I like it. But
really
he said
matter,
that he wasn't into the culture or hip hop or anything. He did not even recognize the guy, so he was not taking celebrity into account.
But Kanye West walked in there and said, "I'm motherfucking Kanye West."
No, I don't think that matters at all, because if I believe him, I believe what Dan just said, and this is the first time I've heard it, because I'm just going to believe. I believe the best of it. I'm not one to sit here and question the validity of Kanye's heart or what happened or the person who ministered to him or didn't. I don't care how he got to where he is. I think, and I accept it for what it is. I do believe whatever is happening to him. Sure, maybe, let's say 100%. I take the position that I believe it, and it's great. It's good for him. I believe that it's good for him, and that happened. That has nothing to do with my position on the fact that the conservative right hoists up people that just contradict so glaringly the kinds of things that they typically shun and are everything but loving to. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Like, this is the real problem in my head, is the way that the culture we live in is so deeply entrenched in Western
Maybe they're just really quick to say, hey, if you're going to do better, we're going to accept it.
I think that's my suspicion is that it's the difference between, like, you see someone in the process of transformation, and so you lovingly, accept them, and then you see someone rejecting, and I'm just trying to speak for evangelicals here, which I'm not one, but someone you see rejecting doctrine or what have you. It's
typical Republicans speaking for people they aren't.
No, but there's a fundamental difference between, like, seeing, like, if you see Kanye is coming towards the church and you're like, yeah, he's had that awful past, but, like, he's in some respects repudiating it. Like, let's give him a hand. Like, let's support him, as opposed to.
I have no problem with those sorts of ideology in supporting someone through that. None at all. It's only that this is what is plastered over social media. This is what they flock to. This is what they use. And it doesn't, I'm not saying that it's personal gain, or even if it isn't agenda driven, which I think we just covered it sort of is.
On Cole's point, the same people that would be like, as John, you're saying, wow, Kanye's making transformation, we should support this. Those same people that are saying that are probably the same people who, at a actual church, a normal person comes in and actually is getting involved in the church and trying to, like, change their lives, but they drop a pack of cigarettes on the ground and the person picks it up and is like, oh, this is bullshit. Yeah, or not. Obviously they're not going to say this bullshit.
You can't serve in the church because you can't serve in the church and smoke. You can't drink and be on the whatever team.
No, it is.
Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. It's 100% hypocritical, but those same people are going to be like, oh, did you hear Kanye West got saved yesterday? But you got a guy right here next to you that got saved, that dropped a pack of cigarettes on the floor, and you're freaking ostracizing him or whatever because he's still dealing with his issues. But you're the same person that will be like, oh, Kanye West is trying to be better. Yes, you're only saying that.
This is all hypothetical. This is all talking about churches that suck, and we can all agree that
Jesus would have
do.
something to say about that too.
Right.
I mean, like
that has
no
nothing
question.
to do
really
with this conversation. Where you're talking about other churches completely and shitty churches, and we would all agree on that. And to counter, as far as the Kanye conspiracy of Kanye's doing this just for political gain or just for like credibility, you know that he's lost, probably more fans than he's gained in this. Like the Christians will all glom onto it, but that doesn't mean that he's making more than he was before, because all the other people, or a lot of other people who loved him for his quote unquote debauchery and talking about, sex and drugs and all that stuff, like they're not going to be into this music. So I don't know.
I think diehard Kanye fans will still be diehard Kanye fans regardless. And Christianity isn't really counterculture anymore. It's kind of the thing. Like you hear of all these celebrities coming out with their own form of spirituality, and people jump on board with it.
What's the point? Like you're saying it's not counterculture, but he's doing it for attention. But you're also saying that he's doing it because it's going to ruffle feathers and shake shit up. If it's not counterculture,
I don't
then
think
it's not going to shake things up.
I don't know. I don't think diehard Kanye fans are going to lose any interest in him at all unless he starts like bashing on his former fans and their lifestyle and stuff, which I don't see that happening really. I think he's going to do his thing and really not care what other people do, which is great. And I think Kanye fans will still jump on it because, like I said, for decades now, bands come out with their own form of spirituality and people are like, great, who cares? He has this thing going on. I mean, if he's going completely against his fan base and stuff, then that's a different story, but I don't see that happening.
Cool.
So quiet.
John, any rebut?
No, I mean, I agree.
All right. Well, I feel like this is a good place to wrap up then, unless anybody has anything to add.
Wait, what's everybody? Okay, I know you two didn't love it, but like, do you have a favorite track?
Cole didn't even know it existed. Craig barely even listened to it.
My favorite track's the one that talks about Chick-fil-A, obviously.
Because that's the one you listen to.
No, I hate Chick-fil-A because they got rid of spicy chicken biscuits, so they're out forever.
I've listened to the whole album, I think twice. I don't remember titles of tracks though, but there were some bangers on there in my opinion. But yeah,
John, you seem like you have a favorite.
John,
I don't know. I'm actually trying to decide right now because
John, would you like to go ahead for the people listening? Would you like to tell everybody what they should listen to off the new Kanye album and give his plugs for him?
All right. God is really good. Use This Gospel is really good, and Stella is really good. Those are my top three, I think.
All right. Cool. All right. Well, so I touched on it before. We can close with this. If you had to put a percentage number on it, what percentage would you give that either Kanye West or Kim Kardashian run for political office in the future? Craig? Either one.
I'd say at least 84%.
You say 84?
Yes.
Okay. Cole?
I mean, I have to qualify it, but
not 0? If you want them to, but if they will.
Oh, 0.
Whether it's successful or not, whether they decide to throw their name
0,
in the pot
because honestly,
for 5 seconds.
If I'm going off of my like the amount that I considered that when I heard about this, or what I really think, even at this point, like I haven't dug into it a lot. Even this conversation now is only the first time I've considered that they had political aspirations, because I really hadn't considered it. It just hadn't crossed my mind.
Kanye's been talking about it since 2016 at least.
Talking about it in what way? In like lyrics?
Him saying, not just in lyrics, like he's been saying like, yeah, in like 2024 I'm going to run for office and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's been spitting out numbers that were far out that didn't matter. I mean, he's just somebody who talks. We know that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I personally I just don't care what he talks about and what he does and stuff. Like,
it's not about whether or not you care, whether or not you think he'll win. Do you think there's any chance? Is it 0 that he will actually run?
Okay,
him or her?
At this point, just because of the fact that you guys seem to sort of think so, I would say something like 10 or 15%. I don't know.
Okay.
10%.
Sure. John, what do you think?
I think it's going to be like Kid Rock running for Senate in Michigan. So I don't know if you guys remember that at all, but he kept saying he was going to do it. And then there was no political action committee ever formed, but he still kept, it's just a whole publicity stunt. So my prediction is Kanye says he's going to run for president in 2024, goes through the motions, does media stuff, and then never actually does.
Well, Donald Trump said that in 1980 on Oprah, and nobody thought he was going to ever do it either.
That's the reason. That's why we can't say zero. I'm not kidding. He changed the game entirely. You can't count this out anymore.
Yeah,
that's why everyone's running for president as a Democrat.
I feel like all you guys are kind of giving Kim the short end of the stick here, because she's been involved with Donald Trump, getting people out of prison all his entire run so far. She's been involved in things, and she's been probably way more of a business person than Kanye was.
She's been helping her friends out, right?
She doesn't have as much of a seeded past as Kanye does.
I will. If Kim Kardashian becomes president, I will move to Canada.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just gonna go the Whoopi Goldberg route.
Yeah. You mean every single celebrity route?
Yes.
Hey Craig, it's colder in Canada.
Oh shit! I'm gonna move to
Costa Rica. A lot more often.
Move to Venezuela.
Move to Costa Rica.
Venezuela's going really well.
That's what I hear. So John, did you give a percentage for either of them?
I think probably maybe 25% that one of them does. I don't know.
That's it?
Which one would? I don't think it's going to happen, man. I mean, because the thing is, Trump didn't just win because he was a celebrity. He won a lot because of the things he said. And so I just have a hard time, unless Kanye gets
Kanye's checking the boxes now.
Yeah, he's saying all the right things for the Republican Party.
I know. I mean, that interview, I was just like, oh my gosh, he's pro-life. He's saying all the right things.
And John would vote for him.
I would vote for him in general.
John would vote for him in a heartbeat, no matter what he runs for. That's true. No matter what John says, he's a lying Republican, but it's fine. I'm gonna go the other route and say 100% one of these two people runs for office in the not too distant future. I said 84,
so I'm pretty close. So here's a Kanye quote that will probably be his political slogan. It says, when people say it's crass to call yourself a billionaire, I say I might legally change my name to Christian Genius Billionaire Kanye West for a year until y'all understand exactly what it is.
Can you read that one more time slowly?
Sure.
Can we get better ones to end it on? Can we just quote his lyrics for the end of the show?
This isn't lyrics. This isn't lyrics. This is an interview with him. Because he was bitching that he didn't get in Forbes magazine because he only made 850 million or something. And he said, when people say it's crass to call yourself a billionaire, I say I might legally change my name to Christian Genius Billionaire Kanye West for a year until you all understand exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so I don't know if you can still see me, but I pulled up something here. I'm just going to read some random lyrics from Kanye West.
I can do the same.
Yeah, you supermodel thick. Damn, that ass busting out the bottom. I'm going to lose my mind in it. Crazy, that medulla. Oh my God. Get to rubbing on my lap. Get the genie out the bottle. Fuck it up. Pussy good. Go and back it up.
That's it.
That song is so great.
Make her mine. I done fell in love. Juicy thing. Make that pussy stay. One more time, baby. Do it big.
You thought grab her by the pussy was bad.
Make it cry. Come. Go hold this shit. Kanye West. The song All Mine.
My name's Kanye West.
That was just the first fucking song I searched, dude. All I did was put in Google Kanye West hit lyrics. That's all I fucking did. I want the world to know.
I can't find the song, but
you fucking hypocritical ass Christian people.
This is another point that I've made. I can't find the lyrics offhand, but he said that his album Life of Pablo is going to be a gospel album too, and one of the lines from that was, "Now if I fuck this model, and she just bleached her asshole, and I get bleach on my t-shirt, that make me an asshole." Gospel album. That album featured Kirk Cameron,
Amen.
or no, not Kirk Cameron, Kirk Franklin, which is pretty similar. But
You know, that is fucking hilarious. And you know what? He is a magician. He is a wizard at this point for pulling off. I mean, I thought Donald Trump was a spectacle.
That's what I said. You thought everyone thinks grab her by the pussy is bad.
Dude.
Bringing some of Kanye's lyrics.
it's like
Dan,
Donald
what
Trump
was-
said it in private. Kanye West sold it to people for money.
I don't remember
That
what
should
song it
scare
was.
you.
What?
I don't remember what song it was, but I know Kanye on a previous album like called his shot on this and said, "I'm going to do a gospel album and it'll go #1." I can't remember what it was.
I'm pretty sure that was Life of Pablo. The one I was
I
talking
think it
about.
was.
Scare
I think
you,
Yeah.
bud.
he literally just said on it like, "Oh, you guys, I'm the biggest deal ever. I could do a gospel album to go #1
Right.
or a Christian album."
That's true. He did say that.
He did.
Oh
So, I mean,
my god.
there you
Well,
go.
You guys take that
Oh.
however you want. And John, Cole, and Craig, thanks for being here to talk
I
about.
love how this ended. I love it.
Yes. Gotta end on a good note.
Hey, man, it was a good conversation, and it far be it from me to say that he's a liar, but man, you know, there's
He's
some
a
signs
wizard.
there that make me keep my eye on
You're a
him.
wizard, Kanye.
All right, guys.
I love him.
Thanks for being here. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, it's
All right,
fun.
see ya.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Cole, Craig, and John as much as I did about Kanye West, and I did enjoy it. If it wasn't made obviously clear, I am a Kanye fan. I was a Kanye fan before Kanye became a Christian, long before. Since right before 808s and Heartbreak, I was a big fan and have been. To me, this whole thing, and I probably said it in the conversation, but the more I think about it, the more it solidifies in my brain. To me, it doesn't matter that Kanye converted to Christianity any more than it matters if your neighbor did. Kanye is still making Kanye music, which is great, and he's just making it through a different lens now, a Christian-y lens, and that's fine because he still makes good music thus far. I have listened to the album since we recorded this episode. I've listened to the album a lot more than I had at the time, and it's great. I really enjoy it. It might make my list for the year for the Downey Awards. I'm not quite sure yet, but it's up there. It's up there on my list of things that I enjoyed putting into my ear holes this year. So I would recommend you check it out. Jesus is King by Kanye West. It's available anywhere that Kanye's are sold. But yeah, it was a good fun chat, and I always enjoy the good roundtables. So I hope you enjoyed it as well. Now, all the things, go like, share, and subscribe on all the platforms: YouTube, Facebook, video, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Minds, Gab, YouTube, all the things. YouTube is changing their policies as of the beginning of next year. And there's a decent chance that if you're watching us on YouTube, we might not be here all that long. It's hard to say. Some of the content that we post, YouTube doesn't seem to enjoy. And things kind of seem to lose their numbers when they're controversial at times. And I'm not trying to play the victim here. YouTube is a privately owned company, I suppose, and I mean, they're basically working for the government, so I don't even know if that's true, but they can do what they want, and obviously they're going to do what they want, but just know that we probably won't be here forever. So please tell somebody about the show. Share the word, spread the word, share the love, and get knowledge out there about the show, and help us fight the algorithms that try and squash this type of content on all the platforms. And also just share the show so that people know, if we disappear from YouTube, we're still available for as long as we can be. So, we'll be available for probably forever somewhere. I will find a platform that, as long as we're not in a totalitarian government that doesn't allow free speech to any capacity, as long as that's not the case, I will be available somewhere. This show will be available somewhere on the interwebs. So let people know so that they know the name, they know what to look for, and stay in touch. Like, share, and subscribe. Do all the stupid things that millennials do, the things that validate my life and my dreams of being a professional YouTuber. Obviously, I'm joking. So, what else? I'm working on a documentary. It's called The Moon, the Myth, the Legend. You can go check out the trailer and everything at moonmythlegend.com. And be sure to check out QAnon Chronicles with Scott McElroy every Friday, wherever you're listening to this, whatever channel or platform you're streaming this from. It will be here Friday. So you can get through your Black Friday this week. I'm recording this before Thanksgiving. You will have gotten through your Black Friday last week in a way that can help you forget about all the noise and all the nonsense. Speaking of, I hope you guys all had a good Thanksgiving. I hope you brought up some controversial topics and stirred the pot a little bit around the Thanksgiving dinner table. Not that we're here to create controversy, but we are here to have real conversations and maybe just challenge people's thoughts and beliefs a little bit. We're here to change the world one uncomfortable conversation at a time and prove that you can be a civil, decent human being and have an outlandish viewpoint. You can be humble, listen to other people, hear what they have to say, know what you believe and why you believe it, but also be willing to change your mind if you are presented with new information. That is the only way that this Facebook nonsense, this Twitter nonsense, this shouting is ever going to change, is if we just chill out a little bit and talk about real things. So do that. Go talk to somebody this week and, talk about Kanye. That's there are times where I'll be like, hey, you should bring up Sandy Hook this week because it's an important thing to talk about. This is a pretty easy one. You can bring up Kanye West and, some of the points that you heard in this episode and have a very easily civil discussion about Kanye West because he's everywhere and he is pop culture. So that shouldn't be a hard one to do. That is my challenge to you. And tell somebody about the show. Again, I'll say it again. Also, go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/The System Is Down. You can sign for as little as $5 a month, and you will get access to all our backlog of bonus audio and video content and get new episodes every single week. We do Rotten Potatoes movie and TV reviews. Currently reviewing The Mandalorian, South Park, and Rick and Morty, all simultaneously. Also planning on doing some more Would You Rather Wednesdays soon with Ramza Martinez. Planning on doing, I have a new show in mind, again, that I can't tell you about just yet because it's gonna be fun and I don't want anybody to steal it. So I'm not disclosing that information just yet. Still got some things in the works for that. But for all this stuff and much more, extended interviews, most importantly with a lot of the guests that we chat with, go over to patreon.com/The System Is Down and become a part of the family, the Downers Club. And join today. But I think that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening. As always, if you will have me, I'll be right back here in your little ear holes first thing next Monday morning with some more uncomfortable content for you. Until then, ladies, gentlemen, Kanye West, and everybody in between, please continue to question everything, stay uncomfortable, and I'll talk to you then. Thanks.
This has been a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.